You might have heard about a new study that connects lack of sleep with weight gain, but what does this study really show and what does it mean for us? That's what we're going to talk about today. So this new study comes out of the UK and it is getting a little bit of attention. I know I have seen it pop up for me a few times when I've been doing stuff online, and Jason has seen it a few times too. So if we're both seeing it, that probably means that you're seeing it or that you will be seeing it very soon. And I know you like to hear my thoughts and my perspective on these types of things as a dietitian. So I wanted to talk about it with you today for that reason. Also, if you happen to be new here, I am a dietitian and this whole channel is about healthy eating and nutrition and healthy lifestyle stuff. So if you're into that sort of stuff, then make sure that you subscribe. So this study had 1,615 participants, and what they looked at with these people was the relationship between the amount of sleep they were getting and their BMI, their waist circumference, their blood pressure, and their diet. They also looked at things like blood lipids, glucose, hemoglobin A1C, thyroid hormones, and C-reactive protein in a subset of the participants. Because all of those things involve a blood sample, they weren't able to look at them for every single participant. Some of the participants had to be excluded from those because of certain blood conditions like blood clotting disorders. Now, the data for this study came from the UK's National Diet and Nutrition Survey, and all that means is that this isn't data that these researchers went out and collected for this study. It's data that was collected as part of this national survey, and then it's there, it's available, and researchers can use it to then take it and analyze it and see if they can draw any conclusions from the information. And what this study found was that a shorter sleep duration was associated with higher BMI, higher waist circumference, and lower HDL cholesterol, which is the good cholesterol that we want more of. And they found that every hour of sleep was associated with a decrease in waist circumference of 0.9 centimeters, which is about 0.35 inches. Now, with some of the other things they measured, like hemoglobin A1C, C-reactive protein, and a few of the other markers, they did see a relationship between sleep and those things, but it wasn't statistically significant, which just means that it wasn't strong enough of a relationship. So that might mean that sleep doesn't really affect those things. It could also mean that this data sample just wasn't large enough to show that relationship. Something else that's interesting about this study is they didn't find a relationship between the amount of sleep that people were getting and their diet. They didn't find that there was a difference in the amount that people were eating, and they didn't find that the amount of sleep affected diet quality either. So now we know the results, but what does all of this mean? Well, if you want to read the study for yourself, I'll link it for you, but here's the overview of what we can take away from this research. First off, we know that sleep is important. We know that sleep is important for our overall health. It's also important for weight regulation, and it can impact our hormones and our metabolism. But past research has shown a relationship between sleep and diet. Past research has indicated that when people don't get enough sleep, they tend to eat more because the hormones are thrown off by lack of sleep. The appetite is increased. People just go for more food. Also, there has been some research to suggest that people don't make great food choices when they haven't had as much sleep. Maybe they just overall feel crummy, and so they reach for certain foods like sweets, for example, because those foods just kind of give you that boost and make you feel better in the moment. Also, lack of sleep could interfere with decision making. So maybe you're just not as good at making the decision that's going to be best for you when you're running on a sleep deficit. So we have a difference there. The past research has shown this relationship between sleep and diet, and this new piece of research isn't showing that relationship. Now, this could mean a few different things. It might mean that our sleep is impacting our hormones and our metabolism and our weight in a way that is separate from what we're eating. So even if we're eating the exact same thing, if we're not getting enough sleep, then we're still going to see an impact there. It might also mean that this data isn't accurate. One big weakness of this study was that the sleep and the food stuff was all self-reported. And overall, that's just a weakness of a lot of nutrition research. A lot of the information we have about what people are eating comes from the people themselves by filling out food diaries and food frequency questionnaires. So it's not like we're getting exact measurements or really controlling what is going in people's mouth. It's all based on them telling us the correct information and making accurate estimates. For the data in this study, the participants kept 3 to 4 day food diaries. So they're telling what they ate and they were estimating the amounts. And so it could be a situation where the people who weighed more tended to maybe under underreport the amount that they were eating or overreport the quality of what they were eating compared to the people who weighed a little bit less. And so that's creating a bias in the data, and that's why a relationship isn't showing up. And there's a similar issue with the sleep data. Because this is all self-reported, we're just relying on people to estimate the amount of sleep that they get accurately and to be honest. Also, the only sleep data we have is number of sleep hours. We don't have information about sleep quality, napping, or how work schedules are affecting sleep, because none of those questions were included in this survey. This study does have weaknesses, as all research does, but despite that, it adds to the body of research that indicates that sleep is important for weight regulation, and that if we don't get enough sleep, then it could cause us to weigh more. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you might be thinking, but Sarah, I thought you said that we shouldn't be focusing on weight. And yes, you are absolutely correct. I don't think that we should be focusing on an individual's weight as the sole indicator of health, and I don't think that we should make a certain weight our goal. And that's because every person is different. You know, this research and some of this information can be great for looking at populations as a whole, but when it comes down to the individual, every single person has a different weight and a different shape where their body is going to be when they're engaging in healthy behaviors and taking care of themselves. And we don't know what that number or that size is. You know, we're not walking around with a number over top of our head saying, you know, when my body's healthy, it's this weight or it looks like this. So we can't look at each individual person and say, you need to weigh this much, because it is so variable depending on the person, their own genetics, and all of that kind of stuff. And also, when we focus on weight, it can lead to a lot of unhealthy behaviors because weight is the goal, and we'll do anything to just get to that weight that we have in mind. And for me, I want to help you be healthier. I don't want to just help you be smaller at any cost. But with that said, our habits can impact our weight and could push our weight away from that healthy place where our body wants to be. So we might see our weight go up or go down if we're not giving our body what it needs, or we're not taking very good care of it. So what we're seeing here is that not getting enough sleep can affect the way our body works and might affect the decisions that we make, and all of that stuff could impact our weight. We need to be taking care of all facets of our health, including sleep. And I think this is so important to remember, because sometimes we get focused on one or two areas of our health, like our physical activity or our food, and then we end up neglecting other areas of our health, like our stress, our relationships, or our sleep. And with sleep in particular, it's often celebrated not to get enough of it. We wear it as this badge of honor that we're a hard worker or that we're super busy and important. We need to shift that in our culture and realize that not sleeping isn't something to be proud of. Sleeping isn't a sign of laziness or weakness. We need sleep to be healthy and for our bodies and our minds to work their best. Getting enough sleep is part of taking care of ourselves, and there's no shame in that. So that's what's up with this new sleep study. And if you are new here and you want more healthy eating tips and nutrition info and answers to your questions, then make sure that you subscribe, because eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle really doesn't have to be complicated, and I want to show you how to do it. And if you want to watch some more videos, I have a couple linked over here that you might like. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.